Three mistakes that I see often that managers make when interviewing applicants include not preparing for the interview, asking the wrong questions, then asking questions the wrong way. Let's talk about each one of those. The first one is to prepare for the interview. When you think about interviewing is the most, if not one of the most important functions that a manager performs, yet often we don't prepare for it. I've been guilty of just rushing into an interview without thoroughly reviewing the job description and the applicant's materials, the resume and the application. When we do so, we rush through the interview and we really don't focus on what the applicant is bringing to give us a good basis for a good hiring decision. So we want to look at the job description just to remind us of the knowledge, skills, and abilities that the applicant needs, but this also helps us focus on hiring the best for the position. Most of the time, as a manager, we panic when we have a job opening because we worry about how we're going to cover the work, how we're going to take care of the customers, as well as the effect on the coworkers who have to work overtime and do extra work while the position is open. Rushing through an interview is one of the worst things we can do as a manager when filling a position. The next thing we want to do is to learn how to ask the right questions. About 90% of new hires fail because of poor attitude, inability to resolve conflict, unable to work in a team. Yet during an interview, we tend to focus on the technical skills, and that's only about 10% of why an applicant fails. So we want to learn how to develop questions that focus on those 90% factors: how somebody resolves conflict, how they work in a team. And to do so, we want to learn how to ask behavioral questions, which is the third area we want to look at. And that's learning to ask questions in a way that requires the applicant to describe his or her past behavior in a way that predicts future behavior. Let's think about an example of resolving conflict. Again, one of the main reasons that new hires fail, so we want to learn how to ask a question about resolving conflict. One way to do that is to ask the applicant to describe a time when he or she successfully resolved conflict. Those answers are difficult to make up, and they can't be answered with yes or no. So you're less likely to get a canned answer or an answer that the applicant thinks that you want to hear. So you get more insight into the real applicant that's before you. Next time, we'll talk about behavioral interviewing techniques more in depth. In that discussion, we'll talk about how you can learn how to develop behavioral interviewing questions that help you delve into the applicant's past behavior in a way that you can more successfully predict their ability to perform the duties of your job.